All right, folks, welcome back to Unofficially Reviewed. We are your
Yeah.
hosts here.
Oh, you got
I
it
got it
right this
right for
time. Look
once.
at you.
I was thinking about this all week, actually. I was like, make sure you say the correct title for this split-off series. So, yes, this is Unofficially
Yes.
Reviewed. I'm Christian. We got Nate and Tim here today. The full crew here to talk about Wednesday, or if you're from the Caribbean, Wednesday. How about that?
or if you're from France, mercredi.
Oh,
Actually, is it in? Wait, let me look at it in
I'll see
French.
what it's
Let me
called.
just
All right,
look.
Tim,
Yeah.
give us the Spanish. I know you know it.
Let me see. I have to
Tim said
translate.
no. Okay, fine.
Oh no, I'll just open Liam's because his is in French.
Well, Nate's looking that up. So, Tim, you brought this show to us. You said, hey, y'all, I've been watching this. We got to watch this Wednesday thing. And then you didn't watch it for like 2 months. And then we all kind of caught up and all finished it this past weekend. So we all caught up. We all watched it. So, Tim, given you were the most enthusiastic at the beginning, what was your kind of general impression
It is
of the
called
show?
mercredi.
It's an Addams Family show.
Wait, do you like Addams Family?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah. I liked I liked about this. One, because the Addams Family, I guess, in the original portrayal, they were a Latin family, so they made them a Latin family. Um, so I enjoyed that. It didn't change anything for me. What I thought about the Addams Family, because in the old cartoon, Morticia was tall and skinny. Her husband was short and fat, and I mean, so they made this one look almost like that one, and I think that's what they was going for.
So you watched the cartoon. So it goes back
Yep,
to it was originally the first one was the TV show, right? Like was
yep,
it 60s or it was black and white? It was a while ago, right?
it was black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yep.
So there was a TV show. Then they had a few movies
No, there was a cartoon before that.
before the movies.
There was a cartoon, yeah, and I think a comic strip before that, and that's where they pulled these portrayals from. They passed a TV show.
They had okay. I didn't do any of that type of research, okay, because y'all barely got me to watch it. So
Right. I mean, I didn't grow up watching any of it. I remember watching the show, the black and white show, a few times. I don't think I watched any of the movies or the cartoon on purpose. It may have been on and I may have seen it once or twice, but I didn't really have much history besides kind of, again, from pop culture, you kind of know who kind of the main characters are.
who they are.
You know.
Yeah. So I did watch. I had seen a couple episodes of the cartoon. I remember I had watched all of the movies, I believe,
Hmm.
and I had seen the TV show a couple of times. I just remember the intro to the TV show. It was like they're something like Ookie and they're spooky. They something. That's all I
All I
got.
remember is
And
the
then
dun-dun-dun-dun,
yeah,
dun-dun-dun-dun.
yeah, exactly. So they
Which people,
so I remember
this
I
will be
did
full of
watch
spoilers.
those.
People, it's not spoiler free, so
Oh no, not at all.
just
So
warning,
yeah.
spoiler warning.
Yeah.
It's
But
coming.
yeah, so I remember watching all of those, and I don't know what it was. Like it never really intrigued me. Mm, I don't know. There was something actually funny, comforting, I suppose, about the Addams Family back in the day, right? I think that's what it was. But then when the show came out, it was like another Riverdale. Did you all watch Riverdale?
I did not watch that at all, no. But I know what you
Good.
mean.
not,
A lot of these
not
shows try
good
to
because
like
it
take
started
something and
off
then like bring
good.
it like all gritty and new, and
Yeah.
Yes,
like
it's
the new
exactly what they
Sabrina is
did.
similar. Is like,
Yes,
oh, she's
precisely.
a
I didn't watch
oops.
Sabrina either because I really loved the old Sabrina, but the new Sabrina I just did not watch. They did that
Because
with
she was a
Riverdale,
happy
so
witch.
huh?
Sabrina the happy witch.
Well, she was supposed to be happy, but obviously not in the new Sabrina,
Mm.
dark whatever, blah blah blah, which lasted what 3 seasons.
Well,
So, huh? Yeah, and then and Wednesday they did the same thing. They gave it the Riverdale treatment, where now she's like this murder mystery, whatever who
wasn't
done
she
it type of
always
thing.
this?
No,
Well,
Wednesday.
No, Wednesday was always she was
She was
what
always just
was
morose. Like
Right.
that was all her. That was her thing. You know, like she was always just me.
I don't
What I
know
really
about that
liked,
because every time I saw Wednesday, she was always like even
trying to
in the
kill
comic strip, she
somebody.
was she's trying to kill her brother or she I mean like the betrayal of Wednesday has always been kind of the same. She's always she's like she didn't care about she didn't care about death really. She thinks it actually like it amuses her, to a
Yeah,
point.
that's true. Which I
It's
actually
kind of
liked
psychotic.
about this show is that since she's not afraid of like dying and stuff like that, and in fact she just embraces it or whatever, she's willing to do a lot more. So I like the fact that she wasn't this scared wimpy or
Hmm.
complaining type of
But if she was, that
person.
wouldn't have been Wednesday anyways. I would have been
It wouldn't have
like,
been, which
yeah.
yeah, but I mean I don't know what they could have done, but whatever.
Yeah, I really
That's it.
enjoyed it. For me, again, as I mentioned, I didn't really get into like the older shows or movies or anything. I just kind of knew of it. But when I saw it coming out, it was interesting. But I like mysteries. I like that kind of a thing. And
Oh,
so, given that it was so talked about, like, okay, look, I'll probably watch this. I wasn't just going to watch it like on top of my list, but it was on my list to like watch at some point because it looks interesting. And so, when Tim said, "Hey, we want to review this," I was like, "Okay, cool. We should probably watch it." My family also kind of wanted to see it, so two birds, one stone. Right? We get to watch the show together. I get to review it.
And get to
I get to
review
watch
it.
something I like. Also, hey, it's three birds, one stone actually. So it worked out. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And for me, it was very similar. You guys probably didn't watch the Lemony Snicket show on Netflix, a series
I
of
did.
unfortunate events. You watched the show?
oh yeah,
No, I
yeah.
did not.
I
Sorry,
watched it.
The
not the show. No.
show.
Not all of it, but
So
I watched
so
it.
that show, I didn't think I would like it. I figured it was a kids show, whatever. But that show is so quirky and
Yeah,
weird.
just
And Wednesday for me it feels like kind of that same spot of just kind of a weird, quirky, kind of dark humor, but it's still light and fun. And so that show, Let Me Snick It, that show, I watched all those seasons, and I think I maybe I watched even twice potentially. It was so good and so fun and so weird. And so I got the same thing from this show. It was fun, it was weird,
mm,
it was quirky. There's mystery to it. So yeah, I had a lot of
But
fun with
like
it.
to that point, like this is what happens in all of these shows, like in Riverdale as well, where like they start off really light and stuff like that, and it always ends up getting dark. Like after the first, after the second episode, like it just gets darker and darker and darker, and the fun parts are kind of omitted, right? Especially like it takes place in like a high school or of sorts or whatever, and you see them going to school in the first episode or the second episode, and then after that, you're like, does school no longer exist? Like, how are they finding this time
Yeah,
to,
man, I know you and
sort of
Tim
thing?
like the school stuff, so I can see why that would be
But let me
a
tell you, I
problem.
did not like Wednesday.
says
You didn't like it.
I did
you didn't
not
like it.
care for it. I knew when I saw it, when I started watching it, I was just like, this again, sort of thing. And listen, I'm gonna tell you, I had already guessed who the protagonist was, the antagonist. Sorry, I had already guessed who the antagonist was by the third episode.
I guessed one of them from
And
the
what
beginning.
was funny, was, though, however, I will admit that when they I think I was like, I didn't know how many episodes were left. Like, I didn't want to see how many episodes were left. I just wanted to see what was going to happen. And it looked like it got to the end, and then they had blamed the what do you call it? Okay, let me tell you what my thought process was. Okay, so this is another reason why I didn't care for it, because I was just like, this is so predictable. It just makes my stomach hurt. So I had already knew who so I had guessed two protagonists, right? So I guessed either the psychiatrist or the teacher, who was a normie, which I was
Mhm.
like, that just
Oh
rings,
yeah.
like it's just obviously one of the two or whatever. But then they brought out, and they were like, oh, or sorry, wait, sorry, I'm
Wait,
getting confused in my thought process here. So I
I got a
had thought it
question for
was
you
either
with
one
that.
of these two, right?
Hmm.
But then I asked myself, I was like, how is it that they are introducing two people who are interested in this one girl? Usually, in that type of situation in movies, it means that one of them has to leave somehow, and that one that's going to leave is probably going to be the antagonist. That's usually how these things play out. So that's what I was thinking. And I was like, well, now I have three suspects, right? So now I have the psychiatrist, I have one of the two boys, and I have the teacher,
Mhm.
right? And so then they we got farther up into the series, and then like towards the very end, they were blaming it on the psychiatrist, and I was like, okay, but then the psychiatrist died, and I was like, well, that omits her, because I mean, unless they decide that they were like, because they were trying to allude to the fact that he could turn on his master, like the Hyde could turn on
Right.
his master. And I was like, I don't think that would have happened that way. It could have, and then they would have explained it, but it just didn't make any sense. So then I was like, oh, then it has to be the teacher. And then they had blamed it on the boy, which I forget. I don't really know what his power was or what his
Yeah, he
thing.
was
He
like an
could
artist,
paint
but he
and
could
it
like
just
bring the art to life
bring
and
it
Yeah,
to
he
everything.
could
life.
bring. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I don't know if he has like a name, like they were the Gorgons and the Sirens.
Yeah, I
So
don't
I
know
don't
what
know
he
if he has a
was.
name to
Yeah, I
it
don't know
or
what he
whatever.
was.
But what was funny to me was, and this is probably going to be insulting. It's not to insult him or nothing, but he, the picture of the Hyde when he was transformed, he looked like the picture of the Hyde when he was transformed. I was
Well,
like,
so I think they did that on purpose because
maybe,
they
yeah,
kept focusing him as the Hyde.
right.
So they wanted to make something that would make you believe that it was
That he was the
possible.
Right.
Hyde. Right,
Yeah, if they would
exactly.
have made it like a totally different face, you would have looked at it like, that's not even him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I guess that's
yeah.
true.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
kind of with you, Nate. Like from the beginning, I'm like, this teacher is involved. My
Yes.
thing was, okay, how is she involved? And for me, that was the mystery. So for me, that part
Right.
didn't
Because she
have to
was 7 feet
be
tall.
like confusing. I'm like, okay, I know it's her and somebody else. So
Right.
by the
Okay.
time it's done, I'll know why it's her and who the other else is. So that's kind of where I was going
Right.
at it from the beginning.
Okay.
But what was
Yeah.
interesting for me was the one part I didn't understand fully was Wednesday said when she was at the end when they finally took the artist kid and like they finally took him to jail because all the evidence that was
Yeah.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
It seemed to me that she had planted on that evidence because she even had those
But
pictures that were there. And so I was thinking she was accusing him to
mm-hmm.
bring out the real person, to draw them out. I
No,
was
she was
Oh,
not.
but she was
confused
not.
when she
Mm.
believed it was him. I was like, wait
Yeah.
a minute. Why
No,
would you believe it
Yeah.
was
But
him?
exactly, and that's also what didn't make sense to me. And I was like, no, what? That's very clear that it's not him. Like at that time, at that
Yeah.
moment. Before
well,
then, I didn't
okay.
really know
So hold
which
on.
one of them it was. But at that moment, I was like, that looks planted. I was like, no,
Yeah.
what? What are you doing? And I thought like you, I thought she was going to like switch it, like switching, bait and switch or whatever. But no, she actually believed that it was him. And I
Yeah.
was like, well,
That
that
was
doesn't
confusing
make
to
any
me.
sense at
That was
all.
confusing.
Wait,
Yeah.
which time are you talking about? Are you talking about the when she believed it was the artist?
Yeah.
When she actually had the cops
Yeah. When
there
they came and took him to
to
jail.
arrest him.
Yeah, she was confused because we knew more about the situation, us as the audience, than she did
Yes, but
because
like,
we knew it from other people's perspectives. So we knew more than what she did. She was still in the position because remember her friend was the one that found that cave, and then he ended up going to the hospital because he got injured because he almost died. But we
yes.
knew more than she did at that time.
Agree. But to me, I
She
thought she was
was
smarter than that.
focusing on
I thought she was smarter than that as
I
well.
mean, was she even if she was smart in that? Would she realize more without the other pieces of information that we had?
Like, what other pieces, Marco? Like, how did these all these items end up conveniently there, and how did either the teacher or the um I forgot what his name is, um
Of the
the
town boy,
Hyde,
yeah, the
whatever.
high guy.
Yeah, how did either of them know that that they were going to be there? Like, how would they have planted that there? Like, it did, like, I don't get that. And then also, no, I don't get it. I didn't
Yeah,
get it.
again, I thought she planted it all there because it was obviously
Mm-hmm.
it was planted. So I thought
Right.
she did
Yes.
Yeah,
it to
Right.
send him to jail to somehow
Hmm.
cause the real person to like expose himself.
So
Right, because
no, she
that would have
planned it
made
all there to
sense.
show the evidence.
Because if he was in prison and then the hide actually showed itself, then that would have showed that it
Right.
wasn't him, sort of thing. But that's not what they did. Excuse me, that's not what they did. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense to
Yeah,
me.
that was my
I
one
mean,
gripe was that piece. I
Yeah.
was like, wait a minute, that didn't connect for me. But I mean,
right.
overall, I enjoyed it. It's my kind of a thing. Do I think they
Hmm.
needed they needed more seasons? I don't know. I feel like I would be okay if this was kind of a one season thing. I don't
But
necessarily
they have
I
a
need.
think they
second
at least.
season.
Yeah, they already.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's already
Hmm.
happening. So I'm
I
not
think
sure I need to see
they need at
her
least one more season.
like continue solving crimes. Like I guess it could be interesting. I guess, but
Yeah.
I don't know that I need it, but I enjoyed it. I mean, I would give it a solid 7 or 8, probably for me.
Well, what did you say, Tim? What were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying. I think they at least need another season. I don't want
You,
to be this. I don't want this to be another Netflix one and done.
why? Because did you think it was that good? Did you think it was?
Well, okay. So here's the thing. Besides the detective part, all right. I enjoyed seeing my wife. We enjoyed seeing this version of Wednesday outside of her element, kind of. And when I say her element, is because whenever time you see Wednesday, she's with her family. So this is more of Wednesday outside of that, you know,
Yeah, but.
her, like you can focus on the detective part of the story,
Hmm.
but the other part of the story is, Wednesday developing like friends, and and how she deals in that realm of like having friends, because that was the other major part of the story,
Yeah.
her having friends and having a roommate, and becoming, like all her friends, she kept betraying them. I swear she was just throwing them under the bus, and they was
She
like,
was
"Oh, it's all
focused
right."
on the task at hand. She's focused
Which
So
on.
all of
much
these
that she,
shows are doing. Like, I don't
she,
know.
she
But
just
like they
throwing her
could have
friends under
had
the bus.
Wednesday. So like when they were talking about the show or when it was like coming out and they were talking about it, I was like interested in watching it. I was like, oh, it's going to be interesting. But then when I found out what type of show it's going to be, I was like, oh, that's not something I'm interested in seeing because I don't feel like they need another mystery, like a high school mystery series. But I mean, I guess they just canceled Riverdale, so maybe this is like what they're expecting to kind of pick up, But like, I just felt like I don't know. First of all, I feel like it's overdone, and then second of all, this show is. What I did like about it was that there were. I liked the abilities, like they were showing like more than just they were actually showing like people had powers and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
like
which
there was other
I did
people in the
because
world
that's
like her,
yeah,
in a
exactly,
sense.
precisely. So
Yeah,
I did like that, but I didn't think that it needed to be a murder mystery. It could have been a
it couldn't have been Wednesday if it
drama and
wasn't a
still
murder.
be showing just Wednesday itself herself, because Wednesday is a very interesting person, but I just feel like maybe this show didn't
I
bring
mean,
it out.
I got a question.
Yep.
What would you want Wednesday to be doing on a show?
I don't know, just acting awkward like I mean, what we would consider awkward like she does. I don't really know because
Yeah, because
I'm
I guess if you take out the murder mystery part, it'd really be focused on like which boy she was going to get with and the
Yes.
conflict with the roommate, which it'd have been more of a teen high school show, right? Kind of
Yeah.
typical
How much
yeah,
of that could you watch?
typical stuff. I mean, I wouldn't want to watch it, but Nate would. So that's
I would
it's a
watch
different
it
show, right?
definitely.
Yeah,
I
like
wouldn't
Yeah.
watch that.
yeah. Well, I think you might, Tim. I think you might.
No, I would not watch that. The whole
If y'all
the
watch
whole
Blood and
purpose
Water,
that
that's kind of. I mean, that was also
Blood and Water,
mystery,
no,
but that's
that's different.
that to me is more towards the side of the personal drama as opposed to the mystery piece. This was more
Yeah.
mystery and less personal drama, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But,
Because Wednesday has no personality. So
Well,
there's
I
no
mean, that
personal
would be
drama.
what was interesting, right?
But that
Wednesday.
was the thing that was interesting about her. That's always like, okay, like there was a part in there that my wife and I, we was laughing, like, and we watched like 3 times, and it was during that dance.
Oh yeah. Apparently, that's a
Yeah.
dance that exists in like the
I
TV
had to
show or something
dodge the
like
internet
that.
so hard because I wanted to see her do it first before I saw all this TikTok
Yeah.
stuff. So I was like clicking stuff and dodging and like, oh, don't look because I didn't want to see it before I saw the
Yeah,
original.
yeah.
But yeah, that was a whole.
Mm.
Yeah.
Her face for me was the whole thing. Just how her face was just always
Yes.
just like the whole
Yeah.
show. When her face and she would give like a slight smile when she
She
was
did it.
Hmm.
happy
Yeah.
like that. I think was amazing.
What
Yeah.
what I
Like,
what I liked actually was more the just the underhanded like insult, but like like all the nicknames that her dad called her.
I know,
It's just ridiculous. My little death trap. My,
right? And how she
it's
told
just
him that she didn't think he could have been the murderer, and he took offense to that. He was like, "That hurts me."
yeah,
He was so offended. Yeah, like all like
yeah,
the twisted way that they would think.
yeah.
exactly.
That was
Like
so fun.
that's what I liked
Yes.
about it. I like when she was like, "Oh, what did she say for your whatever birthday? We gave you a um your first excavate or no, like cemetery or grave digging, whatever."
Oh,
You
right.
almost smiled.
Exactly.
You're like, I like that. Those types of digs. I think that's the reason why I liked
Yeah.
Adam's Family because they make it so it's so like underhanded what we would consider, but for them it's it's perfectly like normal, acceptable, and like it's a sign of love, for them. So
Yeah. And all her little comments she would say when people would say stuff to her. You know,
yeah. Oh yeah,
um,
yeah.
she always
Like
had these retorts. Just
yeah,
it
With a
exactly.
straight face
it
every
was
time.
Yeah.
every single time.
So Chris gave it a good, what'd you say, 6 or 7
That's a 7 or 8.
or 7 or 8? Sorry, 7 or 8. What are you thinking, Tim?
Oh, I get it was easy. I gave it a good 8. Um, there because even though I enjoyed a lot of it, there were some things that I didn't care for,
Like
and
what?
it comes down to okay, yes, it was some of the when it came to the detective things, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because like I said earlier, it felt like she was just throwing her friends under the bus just to get. It's like how can you be so involved in a crime you just throwing your friends under the bus? You
But
know,
that is a
just
Wednesday. Wednesday doesn't
Yeah.
have friends. She already said she
but she
doesn't have
did.
friends.
That was the thing. She did. So her roommate, she cared for her roommate, but she kept throwing her under the bus and just leaving her in
She
places
didn't throw her
and
under her bus. She just like
she
told her
kept
to help
leaving
her
her.
with her.
Yeah.
She lied to her
Yeah.
basically, and
That's
then
throwing someone under the
True.
bus,
But
man.
but again, if you think about it though, ultimately she was trying to solve this crime and save the school, right? Like
right,
so
Yeah,
it wasn't for nothing. It's just that for her, it's just very compartmentalized. Like I'm doing
yeah,
this, and if it's hurt your
right,
feelings, that's not a concern because
right. Because
ultimately
she
I'm trying
told
to do
him
this.
she was
literally,
like, if you
she
don't
did say
like
that.
it, leave. I'm
Right.
not, she was
Like
just very
whatever.
matter of fact. I wanted to ask you all something. Did you? So how did you all feel about the vibe between the two guys and Wednesday? Do you feel like they were like believable? Like
No,
not the vibe, but the like relational thing. Like, did it seem like, for example, the guy? What's his name? The one that does the painting.
Uh-huh.
I felt like that
the
that was kind of forced.
the creepy guy.
Yeah, I wasn't
What
sure.
creepy guy?
Like
The one that was with the
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 siren. Yeah,
siren.
I
Yeah.
didn't. Which is maybe they did it on purpose to make you suspect him because it just
Right.
definitely seemed like he was just around too much, right? And he was a little bit
Right.
too much, but didn't seem like it
He
was
was always there.
heartfelt. He
Yeah.
was just always there and
Yeah,
always just kind of pushing to be around and like in her space. And I was like, and it was I could see that. I could see that.
the reason why I called him the creepy guy because, like you said, he was always around. When
Yeah.
it's like it was like, but when he was around, she even said it. She's like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
It's like he was just creeping around, watching her.
Well, she was always around too. Like she was just popping up in places, which I
Yeah,
was
but
like,
she's the
"How
main
did you
character,
get
so it
there?"
didn't feel like she was popping up. But anytime she went somewhere, he would just come out of the shadows or just walk in the door. Like, what are you doing? Following her around? I mean, the hell, you
Apparently he
know?
was.
Yeah. I guess. And what about her and the normie? Did that seem like a
the
plausible relationship?
the normie.
What's his name? I don't know
Oh
what
yeah, I
the
forget
guy
his
who
name
turned
as well.
into a
But
Hyde.
it
Well, he wasn't a
was,
normie at the
yeah,
end of
Yeah,
the
I'm about to
day,
say
right.
the
but
It
normie.
was interesting. I was wondering why he was drawn to her and why he was
yeah,
so able to understand her so well. I was the whole time I was like, wow, he really gets her in a way that seems odd for someone to get her, not knowing her that
yeah,
well.
Yeah,
Like you just met her, but yet you're able to do this amazing date that was perfect for her to the point where
yeah,
the
right.
scary movie was like looked like some like teeny rom com thing that she was just like,
Yeah, it was
oh,
Legally Blonde.
oh.
What are you talking about? Like,
and the
She
other
was just
thing that
like,
with
oh,
she was like,
the
that
other
was
thing with me
and
is
she
horrible.
this.
enjoyed being tortured by
But she,
it, which is so
yes,
crazy. Like she didn't
exactly.
like it, but she enjoyed the fact that she didn't like it.
Yeah, that was so funny.
It's like what?
That's Wednesday.
What were you gonna say, Tim?
Oh, my thing was is like, like how old was this guy that was not in high school that had his own personal job that was dating a person that
I
was in
feel like
high
he may
school
have been
that
in
just
high school,
started the
just not
school?
their high school. Is how
Yeah, he was well
understood
because
it.
he was a normie, so he wouldn't have gone to their school,
Yeah,
I know
right?
he didn't go to their school, but
But it's
every
true, he
time
was
she met
always
him,
working when they were
yes,
in, and I'm
he
just
would,
like, why aren't you in school? Like,
even the times
right.
where she skipped class to go,
hmm
he was
he
there
was
working.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This man was
baby,
Well,
he
not in
was
high
that
just a
school.
should have been
This
a
is a
clue.
grown
Should have
man.
been a clue.
should have been. Yeah, I'm telling you, they were just all. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
So the what I was gonna say also was that the I felt like all of that could. So like Wednesday was explaining, how the teacher got the high to obey her, to become attached to her. Um, and so I was just thinking about, so I thought over the series and I realized that basically they're saying all of this could have been avoided if his dad had talked to him about his mom, which you absolutely refused to do.
Yep.
And so someone
Yeah,
else came in, talked to him, and then got control of him. And all of that actually falls on his dad.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, it does because his dad. I mean, not just talk to him about that, but I mean, if you saw the relationship in the show, put just talk to him. Period.
Yeah,
His
just
dad
talk
was.
to him. Just
At all.
no, but specifically, yeah, exactly. Like he was just pushing him away, and so the
Yeah,
one thing that he could grab onto because he wanted to talk about his mom, which they kept dropping.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that they wanted to talk about his mom was he just absolutely refused until the like very end. She was like, did you even love her? He was like, more than you'll know. And I'm like, well, then that doesn't.
Okay.
oh,
What does that mean?
and actually, there's three things I didn't like about it. Actually, now I think
You
about
got
it.
a whole list now.
Now you just counting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. One was the animation for the hide.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't like how they
So I
they drew.
to
Yeah,
the point,
I
I
didn't
was
care for that.
wondering if that was a stylistic choice. If because
I
it's
think
Tim
so.
Burton, right? So I'm wondering if like 'cause
Right.
all the effects were cheesy like that. It was just very
Yeah,
corny. And I felt
Yeah.
like it was on purpose. Is how
Yeah.
I took it. That's just
Mhm.
a style they chose to do was make it kind of hokey on purpose.
Yeah, because all his I don't like Tim Burton at all. I mean, not the person, but like I have some I never mind. Anyways,
like
I
when
just
they
don't like
wasn't.
his shows, but they all look the same. Like they're all drawn the same. Yeah, so or similar, I should say.
Like when they wasn't showing the hide. So the scenes like in the house, right? When they was just showing the shadow of the hide, and they was just running. I enjoyed those scenes
Hmm.
when they was running away from the hide in the house after they went to when they
To
went and checked inside
check
it.
it
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
I enjoyed that whole scenario when they was running away from the hide, right?
Right.
But every time they showed the hide's face, it was like, oh, it's the weird person. That's all it was. It wasn't like I didn't get that.
Scared.
Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't think it was scary. It was just like a weird person,
Mm.
like a deformed person. That's all it was, and
Okay.
it didn't hit me the same way. So that was one of the three things, and then the other thing was that whole side story about what was it, the guy of that town at the end. there. I think she ended
Crackstone.
up. Yes, I was like that. That whole side story felt forced in. It's like they said, "Hey, you got a whole bunch of gaps. Just fill it with stuff that have nothing to do with the story. Just throw him in there."
Well,
I
but
was
he
like,
was
"Why
like
are
a
we worried about it?"
central. He was like a central piece to the
For a
whole.
second, and then he kept going back and forth.
No, like it came from the what I didn't. Okay, no, it came from the picture that the guy that get killed um brought up. Like he was like it's his destiny to kill Wednesday because she was going to be the end of the world. Like that was there from the very beginning. That's
Yeah, but
right.
if that storyline didn't like, say if the last episode ended when they captured the hide and all this stuff, right?
Hmm.
Would you I didn't care about the ending with him. I'll say it that way. I
Because
them
you were
ki-
more focused on figuring out who the hide was.
yes, I didn't
Right.
care about him. It was like when they showed him at the end, it was like the boss battle. Like some stupid game at that point. I was like, okay, kill this guy off. So we
But
can go.
they had to explain why, because it was based on him that all of these prophecies were made. They had to explain why she was manipulating the hide to kill all of these people and stuff like that. That's why he was a pivotal part
I
of the
know.
story. Otherwise, they would have used something else to explain why she wanted to kill them all off. Maybe, I don't know. They accidentally killed one of her kids or something like that. That wasn't
I
it.
mean,
They just,
I know. I get it. And that's why she had to work with her identical, grandmother, great grandmother,
Mhm.
um,
oh,
to
yeah.
Goody.
to
Goody.
And side
Exactly.
note, I was wondering how. So that she was Goody Adams. So how did the last name
yeah.
get passed on? But that's a whole nother story because she's a female. We don't need to do that in America. So whoever, I guess,
I mean, maybe she had a brother.
but
Unless it was
she was the only
matriarchy.
one, right? So I don't know.
Well, she was
Maybe
the
the Adam.
witch, though. She was the most powerful witch, so that's
Yeah.
quite likely they might have taken it from because she
Or
might not have married after that. So,
I mean,
but
I
she
you know
also, if that
actually,
wasn't the
no, no, no. You know something? Me, I don't have my father's last name. I
no,
have
but he's talking
I
about
have my
back in the
last name from
day
my
that
mother.
wouldn't have been
Right.
a thing. He's
So
Because
saying back in
because
the
no, I'm
day,
saying there are a lot of there are a lot of families back then that sometimes they just take on the parent that's their last name, and so that's what I'm saying
quite
how the
possibly,
name could have
yeah.
went.
But also, like, was she pregnant at the time when all her family died, or did her kid just escape
well, that's
somehow?
what I'm saying. Like it seemed like it was just her, and so at some point she had to have a kid
Mhm.
with somebody. And so why did that
Yeah,
kid get the last name Adams? Is my question.
yeah.
It's a very very nitpicky thing, but it did occur to me as I was watching. I was like, oh, so the ancestor was a female that escaped by herself,
Maybe she
Hmm.
had a
and
kid
her
by a
last name is
monster and they
Adams.
don't have the last name.
And so where
Yeah,
did
she might have just got knocked up and she ran away and she named the kid Adams.
Yeah,
It may not have
I
even
guess we'll see
known
in season
because
two.
they didn't say anything about her husband. So there's that,
yeah,
and then or
Whomever.
her baby daddy, and then
yeah.
also. But I had a question about like what drove this kid mad that was trying to kill Wednesday at the beginning of the show. Like I thought that they were going to explain
Well,
that
it
they
was a
never did.
prophecy. He thought she was going to destroy the school, and he was already
Right, but
unstable apparently, which is
oh,
Yeah.
why the
okay,
father didn't mind the lie. They were like, okay, look,
right,
this is a better story than my son went crazy and been having issues for a
right,
while,
And
trying to kill this girl twice. So
yeah,
right,
and the
okay.
way I took that is Tim Burton. The father reflected the thoughts of Tim Burton. And he's like, yeah, let's just get rid of this character because this story's not going to go anywhere.
Well, I
Because
mean, it feels like it was purposeful, but I do feel like, I
they
mean,
killed
it
him
was
off too
purposeful
fast.
because it had to bring, that's what they used to bring out the prophecy. Like, that's what they used to
right.
explain to us the prophecy. So,
And there's another red herring
all
for a
right.
while because you thought he was the bad guy until he died. Speaking of, a lot more people died than I thought would have in this show.
Yeah, I didn't
I
think the
was not
teacher was going
expecting
to, I
so many
mean, the
people to
principal
like,
was going to
yeah, so many
die.
people
Yeah.
just like died. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, we're just killing people. Like I just didn't expect it. Like the mayor
I mean, you can't have
died,
it.
right? Like that
Yeah,
psychiatrist died. I was like, are these people dying?
Yeah.
Like it just didn't seem like
Yeah.
that kind of a show because it wasn't. It's not a dark show.
No,
It's.
but
it's
it's
I
not
mean,
it's a
supposed,
family
it's
show.
exactly.
dark in a hokey way. It's not like dark,
Yes.
but yet all the people
Right.
just died, not went
Yeah.
missing or
Yeah.
injured. Like
I mean,
gone.
Okay,
I
but here's
didn't
the thing.
expect it.
But
I
here's the
wasn't
thing.
either.
If people didn't die in this, it's an Adams Family show. What did they, I mean? The
Well, that's my
whole
point. Is
thing.
Adam's Family
Yeah.
isn't like horror. It's joking horror. You know what I mean? Like it's horror in a jokey, silly way. So for that people to
Yeah, like
die, it
no,
seemed odd to me. That's all.
I think
yeah.
it's
Well, I mean, but like I said, they did the same thing with Riverdale because Riverdale is not at all about people dying, and then it just just turned into this everyone dies,
Because that's
everyone's
based off
dying
of
sort of
Archie
thing.
comics, right? Which isn't
That's
even
yeah, it's Archie. No, it's
close.
nowhere near it.
Right? It's not even
So
close.
yeah, no.
so. I
So
got a
it's
question. I got to ask you a question. What'd you guys think of the portrayal of Fester?
I feel like they missed the mark just a tad bit. Like I understood the concept they were trying for, but they only brought up his kind of his attachment to killing his brother like once, sort of thing. And I felt like they just kind of had to bring him in there because he's part of the
Yeah.
Adams. I feel
I
like
mean,
everything could have been solved kind of without him.
yeah. I mean, I'm a
Yeah,
non-fan, so I was like, okay, Fester's here, cool, whatever. It was,
You're right.
you know what I mean? Like it's fine. Like I don't, whatever. I like
Yeah.
the actor, so I was like, okay, he's funny, so whatever. Didn't
Yeah.
bother me.
So, okay, well, I I would have given it. I give it like a 5, maybe.
That's about right.
Probably. Yeah. No. Yeah. 5. I'll just stay there. So, I think we've let this show run its course.
Have we? It's only been 30-some minutes.
I know, right?
More. All right, y'all. It's been fun.
I did want to say that. Just wanted to bring this out. I thought he played a good. I guess it doesn't necessarily need to be said, but the guy that played Hunter, Tyler, the guy that was his love interest, the Norm, that was Wednesday's love interest or whatever. He's gay. He came out as gay, and I thought he played a really good portrayal of a straight person. So. I said that because we were talking about Bridgerton and
Right.
Anthony Bridgerton, played by Jonathan.
He did a really good
Bailey.
job.
He did a really good job.
Those longing looks were serious.
Something. I feel like we're forgetting like one of the main stars here, and to me, it was actually one of my favorite characters, which was Thing. I feel like we haven't talked about Thing.
We haven't talked about Thing because who is Thing?
And
like,
how does anyone understand what he's saying besides Wednesday?
No, exactly.
Sign language.
But
everyone would his roommate
he was using a mix between sign language and what's it called? The tapping.
And Morse code.
Morse
and
code.
People just understand this.
Yeah, because the things he couldn't say because he didn't have two hands in sign language, he did the Morse code for him. So it was its own kind of language.
Unintelligible.
Man, come on now. Yeah, he was a star.
I mean, I did like Thing, to be honest, but he was a boss, to be honest, but that was it.
Look, Tim, I know you don't want to leave, but we got to wrap this up.
We got to wrap it up. Yeah, 38 minutes. Moving on.
It's been fun. You heard our reviews. Something similar would be, again, a series of unfortunate events on Netflix. Very similar show. Maybe we'll review that someday. Who knows? We'll see.
Or Riverdale on Netflix.
Or Riverdale as well. All right, folks. It's been fun. Find our socials. You know where we are. Thanks, guys. I guess we'll catch you next time.
Ciao.
Bye, Tim.
Oh, yeah. Bye, Tim. Tim is here. Look.
Bye, Tim.